Yeah.
No.
No, I mean that's what they need to do. Just create their own theaters.
Man, just drop that shit.
Just drop it.
Yeah, dog. Just drop the song, dog. Yeah. Bird.
Okay. Episode 3. Real nigga shit.
Real nigga shit. Hashtag RNS. Brother here.
Brother Salim here.
Hey, man, DJ. Or Austin, either way.
ASAP Ferg.
ASAP Ferg.
New location. In the backyard.
Hold the door.
Hold the door. Hold the door. Hold the door. Hold the door.
Alright, let's start it off.
Alright, turn it down a little
Turn it
bit. Yo,
Alright.
that's a great introduction.
Alright, okay, let's start it off. Alright, do you want to start off with
We gotta start off with Hold the Doors.
Okay.
As y'all know, every week on RNS Real Nigga Shit,
I'm
we
sad,
start off
bruh.
with Game of Thrones. So that's what we're gonna do here today. Hold the door.
Hold the motherfucking door. Hold that fucking door. Okay. Can I talk about something for a second? Okay, so Game of Thrones, we have dragons, we have castles, we got zombies.
Forest people.
We got forest people.
No, children of the forest.
Children of the forest that have fire. Now we got time travel, my nigga. We're not only time travel, that we've seen in like Lost from The Constant, one of my favorite episodes of Lost, but now it's kind of going into Terminator territory with what happened with Hodor and Hold the Door.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like,
Time travel.
is this too much for Game of Thrones? Like, they have so much genre stuff already. Like, are they cramming too much? Or is this genius of George R. R. Martin that he literally could take every genre that he likes and put it into this series? Like, that's amazing.
Well, I'm gonna say this in two ways. One, it's not too much because it did come from George R. R. It's not from the show creators. You get what I'm saying?
True.
So it's like it's already been embedded, and because it came from George R. R., like it's years and years. That's what made the reveal so great because it's kind of like his name has been Hodor this whole time.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying?
That's what I was just saying last night. Like 6 years of our lives.
Exactly.
He's been saying Hodor.
Right.
I mean,
Hodor.
but not just
And
that.
we had no idea why. And now we know.
But my question is, because this is where I got a little confused. Did Bran warg into Hodor from the past, allowing him to warg into Hodor in the future, which caused him to have brain damage in the past? It was a little bit confusing because his eyes weren't white the whole time when he was warged in the present time. So I couldn't tell if he was present when he was holding the door or not. If that was Bran controlling it. It was a little bit
super
confusing.
confusing because you got the idea. All right, so this is how I look at it for the time travel's sake. For the Hodor couldn't explain exactly what happened. I don't think anybody could explain what happened. He just had a stroke.
He just had a stroke.
So at that point on, he was just Hodor.
Yeah.
Now,
so he had a stroke basically of a vision of someone telling him, hold the door.
Exactly. Now
And
that
that's what
lets
he
me
had
know
in
how
his brain.
important the Starks are to everything because Bran had such a big effect on history.
He's been there. He's been
He's
doing
been
this
there
shit.
for the whole time. You get what I'm
he's
saying?
He's the John Connor.
So because of that, that lets you know that that Bran. So you have Bran, who's extremely important in that way. Jon Snow, who's Jesus Christ, which is also connected to Ned
And then
Stark.
we got Daenerys, who literally is just wrapping everything up.
Right.
I mean, it's what I love about this, and even though Hodor died, what I love is that it gave us the answer. I'm sure everybody was kind of curious why his name was that. Everyone was obviously curious why he's saying one word, but we got the answer. He was able to die as a hero, right? Ooh.
Right?
Yeah.
This
Wait,
nigga
no, so he died as a hero, right?
Yeah.
And like
could potentially save the world. Like,
exactly.
Hold the Door was like
And
big.
and it refers
Bran.
what does hold the door
Yeah.
refer to? It refers to everything that's going on in the series. They're all holding the door for the White Walkers. They're all holding the door for all this shit. They're all holding the door.
It goes back to the idea that this is all a statement about society.
Yeah.
And like that's why I gotta watch this Wisecrack video. We can have our episode about it. But basically the whole idea is that this shows about the end of a regime, just like how we're at the end of a regime here on Earth. Like there's literally natural disasters happening all over, global warming, between floods, refugees all over the place. But here in America, we only give a fuck about the Kardashians and the Trump antics.
No, we only care about the Game of Thrones. And that's essentially what the whole story is about. Everyone's so focused on the Game of Thrones, the game, when the real game and the real thing they need to focus on are the White Walkers.
And it's
the
so
actual...
brilliant because the whole Game of Thrones is selfishness.
Of course.
Everyone just
No. It's not it's selfishness until the one person who sees the
greater
trees
picture.
is Jon
Yeah.
Snow, and what happened to that nigga?
Well,
he
the
got
person
killed.
the original person who saw the trees was Ned Stark, and I think that's why we follow the Starks. And then because it's
He saw it, but he didn't see it as clear as Jon Snow. Jon Snow sees the entire picture right now.
well, I don't know. I think Ned was just blinded by his honor.
Well, not just blinded by that. He basically was operating purely off honor. But anyways, we've been on this topic for a while. Let's move on to some of the other stuff that's been happening. With the Iron Island stuff was crazy. He just kind of came in there.
What the fuck does that mean?
He literally came in the first episode. He had one other episode of development, and then the fourth or fifth episode, they're like, all right, now he's the new
He's the
leader
king.
of everybody.
I'm with it though because
you
this you can tell there's family history there.
and they're connecting everything.
Yeah.
They're connecting everything that's going on with the Iron Islands, with
Right.
Daenerys. What I love is that this is smart storytelling. He's, again, I'm gonna bring up Lost again. He's solving all the threads. He's tying up all the end. He's not gonna leave us with questions. He's
Yeah.
gonna answer all the questions. He's gonna connect all the
gonna connect
disparate
everything.
parts together. And you know, them just basically dipping on him was hilarious.
I just think it's weird because it's like, how many times are they going to bring in new family members to this world? It's like as viewers, we don't know who the fuck anybody is until they show up and do some real nigga shit.
I'm hoping this is the last, because we also got some word. What did you think about the scene with Sansa and Littlefinger? I loved it. Finally, her having her own agency, her going.
I don't think that scene was as important as her lying to Jon Snow about that scene.
Well, no, you're right. No, I know it was important because I needed to see her have that kind of power. But it made me mad because she still, in a weird way, has this kind of like connection to him. That I'm still like, no, this dude, like, he needs to die. But maybe she's just still plotting, you know, and maybe a Littlefinger, rubbed off on her. In terms of her plotting and seeing him as
plotting.
She's
Look
plotting.
at the thing is right now she's plotting for good. My concern is that her plotting can lead to some serious consequences.
Well, she doesn't know what she look.
And that's
right
what
now
he was talking about. Like that's the Catelyn Stark in her, because Catelyn was plotting like that.
She
behind,
always plotted.
Behind
Always.
behind. What's my nigga name? Robb Stark. She was plotting behind Robb's back, and that's how they both ended up getting murdered at the Red Wedding.
No. They got murdered because she got the plot. She actually got the setup, but it's because Robb wanted to, get married. She set up the.
She didn't talk to Robb before she set up his marriage. That's a plot move. You get what I'm saying? She brought it to him.
That was already set up that they were gonna get married. He
But
literally
he didn't
went
agree
against.
with it.
Well, no, he agreed. He did.
No,
he
had to agree.
No,
with it.
that's what I'm saying. It was under
ultimately didn't want
direct,
to.
but he still had. But still, that was the Game of Thrones. That's the moving of the pieces. That's exactly where Robb
But I think
chose
that's-
love over being a king.
It's ultimately Robb's fault.
Yeah.
But Caitlyn brought that to the
No,
fault.
but she needed to. Like she gave the strategic move that was going to be a good strategic move.
But she didn't consult him before she made the strategic move. That's why he was under duress. Because the thing is, what
still-
Sansa is doing is she's putting the pressure on Jon. Where like she took the decision out of Jon's court because she got the information from Littlefinger. Jon couldn't make the educated decision on whether to take the information or not.
I think that she knows that Jon is going to kill Littlefinger, and
that's why she did it.
And well, that's what I'm saying. In her mind, she's like, I think that there's more that we can get from this dude.
Exactly, but that is ultimately going to lead to we getting the marker. I'm gonna just wrap this point up or whatever. That's ultimately going to lead to the misconfusion amongst those teammates because she's making decisions for Jon before she can make it. Like Jon has to decide whether now he's going to kill Littlefinger.
But I think that she's making that decision because she basically is the Queen Stark right now.
Nah, she is. And
smart. She's taking
it's
she's
smart
taking
for
on
the time
that.
being, but it can't come back and burn it.
She's
The
taking
same way that Bran jumping into the world without anybody, it had a huge effect.
Yeah, that was I kind of didn't like the fact that it's like because he touched him, it allowed for the White Walkers to come in.
No, it makes
Why were they
sense.
mad so fast? Like they
Like-
popped up like what?
They literally were there like in the next scene.
Because they're the White Walkers.
Remember how we were saying? Yo, before we go on, let's talk about the new Red Queen.
They was there that night.
Yo, the new Red Queen.
I know who is.
No, not just like I'm just like damn.
All right, hold on. Did you have the same thought I had? Was just kind of like, all right, when we gonna see them titties?
I mean, we know what the Red Queen does.
That youth necklace.
No, she got the
She
youth
did.
necklace.
She did have the youth
Let me
necklace.
take that
Yeah, well, she could be like dust.
hold on, wait.
She could be some straight
No,
dust.
but that don't matter if you don't take it off.
That's what I'm saying. And we know with the Red
Take it
Queens,
off.
but look, it's gonna be different because she's not trying to seduce Daenerys, so we might not see her do the same thing.
She gonna seduce Tyrion. Tyrion gonna be able to turn that down.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. There's no end for her. She already has the power. She went in there and basically said, "Yo, Varys, oh, you want to come
The
at
first
me?
Red Queen
I got
didn't
your
have
whole
no
life,
power
buddy.
either.
I got everyone's life."
She
So-
didn't have the other chick had the power already also too. The original Red Witch.
Yeah, but she needed specifically to get Stannis on her side. Daenerys isn't here yet. And when Daenerys comes, she's not going to be, showing her titties to get Daenerys on her side.
That's true.
Specifically. Anyways,
All
so
right,
let's move on.
Let's move on a little bit.
Yeah.
Billboard Awards. A lot of niggas was mad about that Prince tribute.
Okay, so
you seen that shit?
Yeah, I heard
So
this,
this is-
was like, we saw.
Yo! Major shade. All right, so this is what I'll say about it. Okay, I watched it, and I was like, are people just like realizing for the first time that Madonna, like, this is what she sounds like? Because this is what she always sounds like. And people, I'm like, it's not a surprise to me. It's more so just like, it's just a bad decision.
I mean, Madonna is a boss bitch. She been around for damn near 50 years, even though she's like 50 years old. But like, I've always been a fan of Madonna. I don't think she's the worst singer in the world. But out of all the Prince songs to sing, she couldn't perform any song where she had to like, she couldn't perform This Go Crazy. I don't think she had that performance skills. She couldn't hit those notes though.
That's what I'm saying.
But nothing
I wonder how much of that was politics. I wonder how much of that was Madonna being like, I want to do this tribute.
I think a lot of it had to do, but the thing is too,
and
it's
it's Madonna.
Prince. Who likes the Prince music? So like the Billboard corporately is like, all right, how are we gonna be able to perform his songs and who do we talk to? So they probably only had to find a number of songs that they could perform.
I mean, I'm not worried about the songs. Like, I'm just is the person who performed it. I mean, they got Stevie Wonder, which is great, and obviously BET's gonna have
Yeah,
their
they
own
gonna have
thing.
the soul people.
So
They definitely gonna. Kevin Powell said something like they should have used artists that worked with her, like somebody like Sheila E. Or like D'Angelo had a
Sheila E. should have definitely been.
Sheila E. should have been a part of it. It was too short too.
Yeah.
I think
it
gonna do a lot
felt
better.
rushed. It felt like it was just. It felt like they came up with the idea of having the purple lights in the crowd, and they're like, "Yup, we got it. Let's do this shit." And they didn't even care about who the artist was.
But you know what? Do you think Billboard's too big of an award show to really get a tribute like that off the ground?
Dude, the only award shows that really matter, unfortunately, are the Grammys.
But do you think the Grammys could have got a tribute like that off the ground?
Oh hell yeah.
I can't remember any time a famous person died. Like the best tributes I've seen have been the BET Awards. Really, the MJ tribute. They did a dope Whitney tribute.
I mean,
Well, not the first MJ tribute, the Chris Brown MJ tribute. Let me take, because the first MJ tribute was a little rushed.
Yeah.
The Chris Brown one was the official one though.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know. I mean, we're gonna be seeing a lot of tributes, and we obviously know this is one of the weaker tributes.
man, niggas was mad.
I mean, I see. I mean, look, I heard her not getting those notes, and I was just kind of like, I mean, this is typical Madonna, and she's like 70. Anyways,
yeah,
I mean, I don't have much more to say about that.
me neither.
All right, yo, you know what I want to talk about?
What you got?
His name is Jeff Johns.
Oh,
And
yes,
he is about
my
to
nigga.
come into DC and just basically clean house. And what did he say?
Yeah.
He says he wants to bring back hope
all right.
and
Well,
optimism.
to give some context
Oh, yeah,
for our
context. Go ahead.
non-reading comic book niggas, just people, because this news actually kind of went under the rug.
Well, I mean,
DC, the DC
Well,
universe.
even in bigger context. So we
Okay.
have Kevin Feige at Marvel. He's the Godfather. He basically,
Why we
is,
both got our legs crossed, my nigga?
because I'm a
do
studious
this.
nigga. You know what I'm saying?
No, when you sit in those chairs, you gotta.
I do.
You gotta be
I'm not gonna, I
studious.
didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
Go
no,
ahead.
it's all good, bro.
Go ahead.
I like how you're sitting all like man spreading, like, yo, what's up?
Go ahead,
And
go
I'm being
ahead.
studious right now. I don't care. Anyways, so Kevin Feige, he's the Godfather. He's basically the architect of all the different phases of Marvel, figuring out how to connect all the stories together so that it feels like a cohesive unit, a cohesive world.
Yeah, the universe.
Unfortunately, they didn't really do that with DC. They gave those reins to Zack Snyder, and to me, Zack Snyder is more
Well,
of a...
fundamentally too, DC along with Warner Brothers is always put more stock in the filmmaker to create the world.
And Warner Brothers,
And Warner
particularly.
Brothers, yes.
Yeah, and so
Even
and that
back in the
happened
Tim
with
Burton
Christopher
days and the
Nolan.
Richard Donner days, yes.
And it worked.
It works
some,
with the right
with the
director.
right who
Because
have
Richard
good
Donner-
story sensibilities.
Richard Donner with the first
Superman. We got Tim
Who was
Burton.
the third nigga who did the Superman? I don't remember.
Don't worry about it. But we
Yeah,
got Tim Burton and we have Chris Nolan.
No, Tim Burton, and then he handed it over to Joel Schumacher, I believe.
No. Chris Nolan was.
No, I'm
You're
talking
talking about Tim
about
Burton.
Tim
Well, I'm
Burton
not.
handed it over.
I'm skipping the crap.
But you have to put that in the, because the success is Tim Burton, but when they hand it to the next filmmaker, that's where the failure comes in.
Well, I mean,
which is the
when
Joel
they
Schumacher
give it to a
Batman.
filmmaker who's specifically visual and is worrying about selling and marketing,
That's
the reason
true.
why the Joel Schumachers is in why they're all colorful and they look like action figures because they're trying to sell shit.
So,
It's
And then
the same
and then
exact thing.
Christopher Nolan came
in.
and
He's like, oh,
rebooted it.
I got the story,
But
and
then
we're
you
gonna
bring
make
in
some
Zack
real
Snyder,
shit.
who's another
Who's a music video director, right? He's just about the visuals. And I'm not gonna say that I
buff
don't.
niggas running around their shirts.
And he obviously has a affinity for buff white men in particular, but that's
So,
another thing.
That's the DC model, but now they brought in this dude Jeff Johns, who used to run the comic books.
Well,
right?
yeah, he's a comic fan turned comic writer turned he turned head of this DC studio.
Right.
And now he's basically gonna be running DC Film.
DC Film.
And he's basically gonna be the one who's gonna be the architect. And I'm like, we've been needing this because
For a minute.
you can't have Zack Snyder, who is the writer, director. I'm sorry, he's the director of the show, of the movie, and he's also supposed to be the architect. It just doesn't work that way.
I think Marvel does it in the most economic way, and it doesn't tap so many creatives. You get what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Like you have different directors for the different films. I just hope that they can. I hope that they can find a way to connect the TV universe with the movie universe.
I don't. There's been some echoes of it, and there are some things about that. There are some things that Flash can do in terms of different timelines that could allow that to happen. But again, because Zack Snyder was so adamant, like, oh, that Flash doesn't fit my world. He decided it's gonna be difficult because he's made a very hard world to correlate to the one that's on TV.
Right.
But Jeff Johns is on board. He was integral in the DC TV shows launching.
Right.
He wrote, on Flash, I think, and Green Arrow. I might be wrong on that, but yeah, he knows what he's doing. And I'm not gonna, but I'm glad he's not writing the movies, and I'm glad he's not directing them. He's just gonna be the architect because he basically knows exactly what he's doing.
This that new Ray Sherman shit.
That's why I was trying to box it. I was like, I don't even know this beat.
It came out a minute ago, but like it just hasn't picked up.
Yeah.
I don't think they realize that they're going with their next direction.
So-
but it still knocks to me.
Yeah.
I feel like I think Jeff is gonna be good. I think it's gonna be a while before DC figures out the fuck they doing.
Oh, yeah.
And I think for a long time they didn't want to do exactly what Marvel was doing. They wanted to make it work
but
under
again,
their rules.
To me, that's childish. They're like, well, if that's what Marvel is doing, we're gonna do the complete opposite. They have a grounded, they have a bright and colorful world. We're gonna have a dark and more seriously grounded world. They're gonna. I mean, there was just.
I can respect it
was
because in our
reactionary.
industry, everyone is a follower. You get what I'm saying?
No, but that's what I'm saying. You look at what works instead of
that's true.
basically saying. That's a reactionary type of position, and I feel like that
The whole
that you
industry is
should-
reactionary. Though, to a
No.
degree.
The ones who lose are reactionary. The ones who actually understand, they take from what works. That's what Pixar does. That's what Disney does. That's what all these people do. They win because they just they look at what works.
Well, yeah, because the thing is with
I mean,
DC,
they're all part of the same company, but
the thing is with DC, they have the material that's going to work no matter what.
they just need
They
somebody
just needed
to bring it out.
Yeah, it just needed to be right.
If that's not Zack Snyder or his wife.
I think he'll be able to figure out their own way to do exactly what they need to do.
We got Jeff Johns on board, and we got Ben Affleck, who is EP now.
EP.
They're going to be writing the Batman movie together. So,
I'd rather Ben be directing than EP, to be honest with you.
well, he's just going to be EPing the whole thing. He's going to basically, he's going to direct the movie as
I
well,
don't know,
but
but
he's going
the
to,
reason I say that is that like when you're EP, you don't have as much control creatively. Like, you're just very much involved in like the room. Like it's like the same because
he's going to direct. He's going to direct the Batman movie though.
Christopher Nolan's been an EP for the last two Zack Snyder projects.
Nah,
like,
he was only EP on the first one.
But it didn't have
and
that
walked
huge
out.
effect.
I-
And like
no,
I'm
no,
not,
no.
and like Ben Affleck, I'm not down his creative capabilities behind the camera.
No,
at all,
you're-
but he hasn't proven himself to be that type of producer. With like he's not like Judd Apatow, who's produced a bunch of talented people outside
here's
of
the
himself.
problem. Who's to say he was actually given a certain amount of power when he got there? Who's to say Ben Affleck? Who's to say that there was a lot of changes that he might have wanted? I bet that he became EP because he had probably a couple of things that he went against Zack Snyder about, and they probably came true in saying like, don't do this, and it all happened exactly how he thought it was gonna happen, and he's like. I mean, because if it didn't, there would have been no other way for him to stay on board, for him to be doing another Batman movie. He's like, so did you? He's like, you're gonna.
they definitely chose
He's basically
Ben.
like, he's like, y'all
What
gonna
was
listen?
that?
Y'all gonna listen to me now?
Right.
So it's like, cause
Now,
I know what's up.
They definitely chose Ben over Zach.
They
I'm
did.
just interested
And-
to see what he does as an EP. I'm not
Oh,
down
yeah.
his capabilities,
We'll
but I
see.
know he's more proven as a director, and I would
Yeah.
love to see him direct some of these things.
Okay. Let's go on to the
What else we got?
You
I know you said we was gonna talk about. We talked about the DC. We talked about Game of Thrones.
want to talk about?
Talked about the Prince.
You want to talk about that Kanye interview?
Oh yeah, let's get the hot topics.
Yeah.
I got these just ready on my
Oh,
board.
Ellen?
Huh?
Yeah, my nigga.
Oh my god.
All right.
All right. So here's my thing about.
You know what?
Kanye.
You know how I feel about Ye. So I'm not gonna talk first. You go ahead.
Okay, so that interview, look, Kanye's a genius. I've always known that he's had synesthesia since I knew he came out, and it was one of the first things that actually interested me because I'm like, this dude he's an artist, but he's a black artist. Like he actually sees colors. It's amazing. So I identified with that. But then as he kind of went off and kind of started talking about different shit and got into Kim Kardashian and all that, and his mom died. I could see that he has this kind of genius to him, like a kind of a torture genius, but he has a kind of a childishness to it. And,
Right.
the reason I bring that up is because like when I saw the Ellen interview, there was a moment where she said something about like, shouldn't you think about something? He's like, what's the point of thinking? And the way he said that, some people were like, oh, that's genius. But he literally just retorted like a kid would retort, like, you're stupid. And the reason why it's like that, I actually read this interview by Kanye's stepdad. And apparently Kanye's stepdad and him, butted heads because his mom would basically not discipline him, basically say, my little Kanye is a genius, leave him alone.
Right.
And that created problems between his stepdad and Kanye because he's like, no, this little boy needs to clean the house. This little boy needs to, clean up after himself. And it created a rift, and I think that's why he actually ended up leaving.
Well, something that Donda was doing worked because the brother had enough work ethic to make it where he's at.
I'm not saying that. I'm not taking anything away from his genius
Right,
or
but
what he's created.
that does have something.
But I'm saying that has a lot to do, and you see it now. Like, and I think that when his mom died, that was the person who he only listened to.
Right.
And obviously, seeing when he had a stepdad who was there for about 10 years, still didn't listen to him. So that just tells me that he's just a big kid. He's just a big, really intelligent, really genius, talented kid.
That's why he pouts when the camera comes. He's like,
He just pouts. He pouts. He's a kid.
people catch him having fun. He's like,
He does. Or he'll do the smile, and then he'll do the frown. He'll do the smile, he'll be like, haha, and then he'll go like,
oh, you left me hanging.
sorry. I was trying to channel Kanye.
yeah.
I'll say this. I'm always the big Kanye supporter. I'm just happy that this Ellen thing has been received more positively than negatively, and it was really a rant. And I think I don't know what it is, but I think that either he figured out a way to say what he's been trying to say for the longest, or people have understood him more. It could be the Chance influence, but like he had a network the movie type rant on network television in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
And like he didn't get the backlash from it I would expected him to get. Cause you a Kanye backlasher.
I mean, at this point, I'm kind of used to it. I mean, and this was kind of tame. It was just another rant of his, and at this point, I'm just kind of like, it's just more intriguing to kind of hear him talking, and kind of just to kind of get a bigger picture into kind of who he is. And this just kind of revealed a lot more to me in terms of just who he is. But I think that because he's doing it so much, I don't really think it's taking away from his kind of like, his appeal like it used to. I mean, unless he's kind of coming out and going after like, Wiz Khalifa's children, then people are gonna be like, yo, come on. But this is whatever, man.
All right, we gotta move on to the next topic. Coldplay dropped an amazing video last
Oh,
week.
that video was dope.
That video was off the chain. I never seen that shit.
Do you know
like that
who
before.
directed that?
Nigga, I don't know.
Oh man, I gotta look that up.
You gotta Google it.
But yeah, no, it
Google that
was
shit
one
right
of
now.
those just like, it just kind of dropped out of nowhere, and then you just start seeing people post about it, and then you watch it, and it just kind of takes you into a whole nother world. It's great. It's great. I love videos that are like that just kind of visually just kind of take you to a place and kind of go perfectly with the song. Radiohead had a released a new album and some new videos.
They had the new videos.
I'm
I'm
not-
liking where Rock is at right now.
I'm not the biggest
big-
Radiohead fan. I'd say Karma Police is probably like the one song that I know by them. But the videos are dope. I love.
Did you listen to the
love-
album?
Nah, I'm not. Like I said, I don't listen to.
Yeah,
Radiohead
I
like
thought
that.
the album was dope. I mean, it's not to me. It's not. No, I'm not gonna compare it to In Rainbow. I just like it a lot. It's real beautiful. They got a lot of things they're dealing with, and I like how they dropped 2 videos like in a week period.
Yeah, the David Fincher one was dope.
Was David Fincher the claymation one?
No, that was the second one.
No, the second one was Paul Thomas Anderson.
Oh yeah, Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. No,
I don't know who
David Fincher.
directed the claymation shit. That shit was
They
cold.
were both dope. I like them.
Yeah, they were both pretty good. I haven't found who directed this shit yet. I'm on this bullshit ass Billboard article. So we'll move on. There's a video that circulated that we need to talk about. You can already throw that track on. The lyric video for Panda.
Yes.
The lyric video for Panda.
Okay, I'll be the first to admit, this whole Future type of rap thing, that we got going, the style. I'm not the biggest fan. The most Future I ever listened to was probably on that Future Drake mixtape.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's when I started to be like, all right, Future's not terrible. He got some bars. He's saying something if you like listen. So when I heard Panda, I was like, all right, like Drake, we're gonna have a bunch of future imitators.
Right.
And when I saw the lyric video, I was blown away. This kid's got bars,
Yeah,
and
he
he's
got
and,
bars.
like he's talented. Like the speed and the kind of the way that he goes at it with his bars, I was really impressed.
Yeah.
And the beat, of course, is nasty.
Well, I think what it is, it's two things, but I think this is the best version of ASAP Rocky. Not necessarily in terms of what ASAP could represent.
Well, we don't know that yet.
We don't know
we
it
heard
yet.
one song by the nigga.
No, he got another song that's circling. I haven't given it too much listens,
I've
but
only heard
apparently
that.
niggas in New York is listening to it. But like, in terms of like him sounding like the hot Atlanta rapper, like he has exactly that cadence, but he also has that New York mentality. Like these bars gotta actually be good.
Yeah, no, I think I see what you're saying.
And so it's like that's what Rocky. Like Rocky, obviously,
And
when
he's
you first
not-
hear him, you can
well,
tell he
and-
can rap,
and he
but he's
also-
doing it Houston style while he's doing Atlanta style.
And the video just came out, and the video has a little bit of the darkness
Right.
to it.
The video is what really brought me around too. Like the lyric video was cool. I was kind of like, oh, he
Well,
actually
that-
got
that's
bars.
how you know
But when
that
I
he's
saw the
talented.
music video, because I expected him to have like a Bobby Shmurda video, just niggas and like like
Well,
go
I
down,
mean,
which
it's
I would
Kanye.
enjoy.
It's Kanye though, man. Kanye, like that's his
But
new artist.
why would
so
Kanye bring somebody like then so early on?
I think he heard the song. I think he actually heard the nigga's bars. It's just this is a dope song because it works on both
But
levels.
but
It
don't you
works
think
on-
they had that artistic conversation and designer was like
I'm sure they. No, he's also. I mean, didn't he work with Kanye beyond? Didn't he work with him in the clothing line or something
Designer?
else? Yeah.
I
Or something. I think that he was like with Kanye before the music. Like there was something else that brought him on board. I can't remember what it
Well,
was.
I know Kanye brought in Chief Keef, and he was trying to, because Chief Keef had that ratchet side that Kanye liked at the time. So I was like, all right, well, maybe he's bringing design in for this, but he can never get to Chief Keef in the way artistically that I think he can get to
Well,
design.
because Chief Keef is not.
He's not an artist.
He's not an artist.
Yeah, he's just a hood
He was
nigga.
a gimmick.
Yeah.
Right. So look, if you listen to this dude, you could think of him as in the same gimmick, space as
Right.
Chief Keef. But when you
And I think
listen to
that's
the
what turned
nigga,
people
that's
off
why
originally.
me too. But when I saw that video, I was like, oh shit, this guy's actually got some skills. Let me actually listen to him. Now I love this shit because these beats are dope, man. They're gonna
Yeah,
get you up.
they gonna get you up.
And for me, like I want to know that there's actually some talent behind the beats. It doesn't have.
Yeah.
You don't have to be like the best. You don't have to be Kendrick Lamar on every track. But show me that you deserve to be on a track with a beat like this.
Well, let's just hope that the best case scenario is that he can actually continue the success he has. He
Yeah.
can come up with more songs and a good album.
Nah,
and if he does,
he's gonna go for it.
that's what I'm hoping. Because like I think he could do what Ray Shrimmer did probably a little bit better because he probably have a better album based off of what he's doing here.
Speaking of somebody who has just been posting
Post Malone.
posting just small tracks here
Yeah.
and there. Post Malone released a mixtape actually like the same day or the day after
I like
Coloring
it.
Book. I like it too. I've been
I'm anxious
liking
for his album.
Post Malone. I've been surprised at how much I liked him. I wasn't really
he's kinda
expecting.
fun.
He's kind of cool, Like, he's got a very specific sound, and he knows how to do that very well.
Right.
And like I gotta give it
And
to him.
video was crazy. The saucing
Yeah.
in the desert.
Oh, that shit was dope.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. The dude, like, he's got a big ass beard. He looks awkward as hell with the freaking, cornrow. But like, that's what I love about it. That's like the whole new thing. It's just like not caring,
And they're not
just
even,
being
like,
yourself.
fresh. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
not even.
they're not even
like-
fresh braids. They're
Yeah, he
just
lets them-
nasty
yeah.
as fuck.
Mhm.
They're rare, and he's wearing a grill. It's just wearing
He's
some
another one
tight ass
that worked,
pants. This
that
shit was
worked on the
funny.
Kanye project. He had one of my favorite songs on there. So Kanye right now is really proving to be like the Judd Apatow, or continually proving to be the Judd Apatow because right now
Well,
he had
he-
Chance on his album had a big influence.
He
And
knows.
Chance
he
got a
knows
great
what-
album.
We know that Kanye is gonna stay relevant.
He
And
is.
how Kanye is gonna stay relevant
Is by getting the hottest
is
people.
by getting the hottest people. He's been doing this.
But like literally,
Let's
like,
not forget about Kid Cudi.
that's true.
Let's
But
not forget about Kid Cudi.
that's true. But I think now, from the three artists we just talked about, that we continue to talk about, Post Malone, Chance, and Designer, all three of those cats are primed to have a really big year,
Yeah.
and all three of them were on Kanye's album at the top
Yeah.
of the year. And I don't think anybody else can say that they were the first one to get those cats on the project together.
Yeah.
And I think all three of them had like big creative influences. Chance probably the most, but like that Post Malone song on it, Kanye's not even really on that. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I can only imagine how many other songs Post was helping him with the hooks.
Post is the new hot thing, man, and he has a good sound, and I think that Kanye just wanted to have that sound, and it's it's kind of got a a little bit of a more upbeat kind of like sing-song gospel sound to it, so
Yeah.
it kind of works.
All right, so
Is that for the rapid fire?
that's everything for Rapid Fire. I got what other?
else we got?
Let me see what else we got on here. We got Panda. We got this Griswold video. Did you watch that?
Nah, we'll talk about that next week.
We talk about that next week. All right. We're gonna have a more in-depth Game of Thrones conversation next week based off of some internet videos we've been seeing.
Yeah. That's it.
I guess that's it, man. That's RNS episode 3. New location, new DJ.
We're probably gonna be doing a different location every week. So just if you keep saying like, why are they in a different? It's our thing.
Yeah, if you got a location that you think would be dope for RNS, hit us up. Oh, if you got topics you want niggas to talk about, you can text niggas.
Hit me on the gram at A-Man the DJ, A-M-A-N the DJ.
Hit him on the gram.
Mixes, original music, all that.
There you go. Insleem26.
At Reek Speaks.
There you go. All right.
Turn that shit up.
Oh, we gotta end it. You know how we gotta end out?
What?
Hold the door.
Hold the door. Hold the door. Hold the door. Hold the door. Hold the door. Hold the door. Hold the door. I got to hold the door. Get the girls on the floor. Big booty shaking everybody on the floor. Hold the door. Hold the door. Hold the door. Hold the door. Hold the door.
All right.
This remind me when I
Alright.
Alright, you keep the camera rolling. We go into a weed podcast.